After returning to Porpo in mid-July, we were snug in her berth in Seto Marina Feniki. It was 6 weeks before we both felt well enough to start our explorations of Turkiye in earnest. First up was a bus trip to Antalya to coincide with Elaine's first appointment with a specialist there. After a scenic bus ride, a taxi took us to our hotel in the old town of Antalya, known as Kalichi. We were definitely delighted at our first glimpses of the old town, and indeed the boutique hotel we'd chosen for our stay. Once we'd checked in, we didn't waste any time in getting out to explore. So we've made it to Antalya. This is our first outing since we returned to Porpo after visiting our loved ones in America and in Northern Ireland. Unfortunately, we had to cut our holiday short because Boy and I both contracted COVID. So we had to skip England, but this is our first trip out since then. And these are known as the Hadian Gates, which is the gates to the old city. As we strolled around the city and up and down all the narrow little streets, we were completely fascinated by the architecture of the homes and the buildings in general, including all the little shops along the way. We were also surprised at the number of beautiful gardens around the old town. So this is where we are, Antalya. This is our view, having a coffee, listening to Italian music. Besides the really good coffee, we got to enjoy the beautiful views over the old town harbour. What we weren't expecting to do was purchase a small Turkish rug, suitable for a wall hanging. Elaine loved the design and colours of the skyline of Antalya in shades of her favourite colours, turquoise and blue. As advised though, we certainly haggled and got the price down. After a fabulous day of exploring, we returned to the hotel for a much-needed swim and to get ready for dinner. Dinner was a delicious Turkish feast at the Liman Cafe Bistro. Afterwards, to work off the calories, and since it was a lovely cool evening, we continued our wanderings, finding the Greek church built in the 19th century and the broken minaret mosque, currently being restored, but has a fascinating history, having originally been built as a Roman temple in the 2nd century AD. Another gem that was actually right next door to our hotel was Sultan Aladdin Mosque, built as a Greek Orthodox church in 1834 before it was transformed to a mosque. So we've had dinner and we've come out for some people watching and a drink, for Roy anyway, and it's a long time since we've been out with this many people around and us enjoying themselves. The next morning we were up early to enjoy our first Turkish breakfast and to head to the hospital for Elaine's appointment. Coming to the Mediterranean, and indeed to Turkiye via the Suez Canal, was never part of our circumnavigation plan, but finding a skilled specialist who was able to identify 2 misdiagnoses has given me a new lease on life, something we will be forever grateful for. After the visit to the hospital, we continued our explorations. We were delighted to find the hydraulic tower, which is located on the southwest corner of the fortress walls of Kalichi. The tower dates back to the 17th century and served as a watchtower. For dinner we returned to the Korikos terrace and restaurant for an absolute delicious dinner and to enjoy the sunset. After spotting the Adalar Beach Club yesterday during our wanderings, we decided to have a beach day of sorts today. Probably a rock pool swim would have been a far better description though. So today is the 5th of August and we're continuing our adventures around Antalya, and today we are having a beach day at the, what's the name of the place?
I can't remember.
Oh well, never mind, but it looks lovely. This is the beach club, a closer up view, and we're going to spend the morning here and have a swim. The water looks lovely. You can see there's people in there already. After a fabulous morning enjoying the clear waters of the turquoise coast, we found what was to become our favourite cafe in Kalichi, the Sud, where we had the most delicious chocolate donuts. To work off our overindulgence, we chose a different area of Kalichi to explore, particularly the Rivli Minara Mosque, which literally means the fluted minaret because of the 8 fluted sections. This is the oldest mosque in the city, first built in 1230, then fully reconstructed in 1373. Afterwards, we stumbled upon Republic Square. This afternoon, we're continuing our stroll around the old city of Antalya, and we've got some lovely panoramic views. It's really quite a picturesque city, for sure. This is a few more panoramic views of Antalya. It really is quite a stunning city, I must admit. We've thoroughly enjoyed the old town. So much history, variety of architecture, wonderful restaurants and coffee shops to enjoy. We'll be entertained here for months. In the distance, you can see the domed mosque from the 16th century. This was named after a powerful 16th century Grand Vizier of the Ottoman Empire. Hundreds of steps took us down the cliff face to the old harbour, where a multitude of goulette boats were available to take tourists out on day trips. Okay, so this is the old harbour, and as you can see, all these tour boats all lined up to take the tourists out on the water. I'm about to get bitten by a bee. Of course, once we were down, we had to get back up again. This was achieved by climbing the 40-step stairway, which are in fact 44 steps connecting Kalichi to the harbour, and are made of cutting blocks comprising stone and rubble. Although our chosen restaurants for dinner on our last night resulted in a terrible meal, it didn't detract from the wonderful experience we had enjoyed during this first visit to Antalya, which was to be one of many.